Now today's football action is analysed in Granada Goals Extra.
Granada Goals Extra, today's action from the Granada region, sponsored by Elf Petrels and Oils.
On Granada Goals Extra, United leave it late, but 3 points are worth waiting for. Clayton Blackmore's winner. 3 goals and 3 points for Blackburn at Brighton. They stay top tonight. John Aldridge bags a hat-trick as Tranmere beat Derby by the odd goal in 7. The Chester pile on the misery at Preston, 3-0 winners down in the Division 3 basement. Well, again, it's been another profitable week for Manchester United, tucking a Rumbelows Cup final place into their back pocket and watching other league results fall their way. Today they were up at Bramall Lane to face Sheffield United and came up with another vital 3 points. Clayton Blackmore's winner 8 minutes from time. Sheffield United 1, Manchester United 2. Commentator Martin Tyler.
Thought we'll fight for this one. And it's gone through for Dean. It's a chance here. It's a goal from Brian Dean. For a second it looked as though Schmeichel had the shot covered, but he didn't. Robson. Manchester United directing the traffic, and it's all towards Tracy's goal. There's no offside, and it's put away by McClure. Schmeichel hurls it forward over Pemberton, and McClure is away. Beasley trying to close him down. McClure looking up to see what's on in the centre, and a goal for Blackmore.
Vital win for United, but Leeds stay top tonight, 5-1 winners over Wimbledon. Let me remind you, you can see extended highlights of that United match on the Granada match tonight at 10 to 11, plus a roundup of all the First Division's goals, including Crystal Palace and Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Liverpool with one eye on Genoa perhaps, went down 1-0. Eric Young's only goal. Elsewhere though, Everton extending their unbeaten sequence to 7 against Luton. Everton 1, Luton 1. Here's Clive Tilsley.
We've had 7 minutes. Free kick for Luton. Stein running over it. It's Pembridge who bends it. Hit the crossbar with Southall beaten. Watson lost it. And Luton in front through Brian Stein. Well, Dave Watson just hesitated fatally on the edge of the 6-yard box. And Brian Stein, 34 years of age, in for only the second goal of his second spell with Luton. Peter Beagrie. Crossed by Hinchcliffe, headed by Johnston! Oh, he needed that, and didn't Everton need it?
Yes, indeed, but there's confirmation at the top of Division 1. Leeds top, United second, both winning today. Manchester City are on the match against Southampton tomorrow. Liverpool losing, and their title chance looks to be gone. Elsewhere, the nerve ends at Oldham Athletic are looking distinctly frayed in recent weeks after 4 straight defeats. It was Notts County at Boundary Park this afternoon, and Ian Marshall rifled in a winner with just 4 minutes left after Andy Ritchie had helped himself to a brace of goals. Here's Alistair Mann.
Well, the quiet start to this game is more than equally matched by the sound on the terraces. You can virtually hear a pin drop here, but here's Bartlett trying to change things for Notts County. And towards Lund. Turner, lovely flick, Draper, and he'll silence the Oldham fans even more. Now then, chance for Marshall just to float it in towards Andy Ritchie, and Ritchie has made it 1 apiece. No decisive touches there. Jobson and Marshall going for the same ball, and Ritchie's onside. Sharp's coming towards him, but Ritchie doesn't need him, and Oldham have the lead. Holden will take the corner, and it's gone in off the hands of Steve Cherry. Well, Holden will claim it, and Holden will celebrate. Andy Williams in some space. Milligan came across, but not quick enough. What a goal from Williams. Adams doing a good defensive job to put off Richard Dryden. Has the ball gone out of play? Clearly not, and Dryden carries on. And the ball in towards Lund, and Lund has levelled it up, and it's 3-3. Just hurled in there, looking for Sharp. Milligan trying to get a touch. No one able to really. Here's Marshall arriving, and what a timely arrival!
Yeah, what a match, and Rick Holden's celebration worth the entrance money alone. Well, in Division 2, it's all been a bit of a struggle for Blackburn Rovers in recent weeks, finding that money alone won't guarantee a direct route into next season's Premier League. But they got back on the right track today, beating Brighton by 3-0. Blackburn were under pressure for the first 5 minutes, but scored with their first attack, David Speedy, with his 21st of the season. They went 2-0 up. Good work on the left by Alan Wright. Across the found Colin Hendry, looping header. That was 2-0. Brighton got back into it. Almost got a goal when Bobby Milnes fumbled, but Roy Wegley came up with his first goal to make it 3-0. Well, anything you can spend, we can spend more. Derby County's bank balance has taken a fearful hammering in recent Saturdays. The big money buys on show at Tranmere today, but what price John Aldrich? A hat-trick from him as Tranmere throw their own hat into the playoff ring once again. Clive Tilsley reporting.
It was a match that started as it meant to go on, with 3 of Derby's recent signings combining for a jackpot goal in 42 seconds. Marco Gabbiadini to Tommy Johnson to Paul Kitson, his first goal for the club. John Aldridge loves nothing more than a goals party. John Morrissey sent him an invitation, and Aldridge arrived bang on time, head first, 1-1 in 16 minutes. But early in the second half, Rovers fell for the old 1-2 from a corner. Simon Coleman with the head for heights on the far post. And Derby went 3-1 up after an hour. Gabbiadini picking out Paul Simpson. Simpson picking out his 4th goal in 5 games for his new club. But crucially, Tranmere took only a minute to get back in touch. Kenny Irons' long-distance call answered by desperate goalkeeping. And after 64 minutes, it was all square. Morrissey riding his luck to win a penalty, tackled cleanly by Comyn, then very messily by Williams. But was he inside the box? John Aldridge didn't hang around to find out, shuffling his way towards the record books. That was his 35th of his best ever scoring season. 40 is the best in Tranmere's history. Aldridge closed in on that mark, closing in on Pat Nevin centre for Rovers' 3rd goal in the space of 7 minutes.
Tranmere doing Blackburn a real favour by stopping Derby's run. Derby are now 5th. Blackburn stay top tonight. Elsewhere, Portsmouth beat Millwall today 6-1. It's now or never for John Rudge and Port Vale, who suddenly find themselves adrift at the bottom of Division 2. It got worse today as Carl Saunders came up with the only goal for Bristol Rovers. 1-0 it finished. Here's Rob Palmer.
When things are against you, the ball sticks to your goalmouth like a magnet, as Vale found out. And defending is difficult. A shot from Rees, a good save from Grew. The ball not cleared properly by Port Vale. Saunders' shot cleared off the line by Darren Hughes, but back to the former Stoke star. 1-0, and now Vale 17 games without a win.
Yes, not good news, is it? But let's move on. Stoke will be glad to get away from the Victoria ground, where they've been a little ragged in recent weeks. They were in the top game in Division 3 today, up at Huddersfield. Got a vital win too. 2-1, including Wayne Biggins' 22nd of the season. Here's Lindsay Sutton.
Stoke were determined to put behind them the horrors of 2 defeats in a week. Returning from suspension, Wayne Biggins capitalised on a Peter Jackson mistake. Biggins' 22nd goal of the season, giving Stoke a much-needed confidence boost. Less than a minute later, Mark Stein bagged another, a fatal misjudgment by Graham Mitchell, and there was Stein charging in to notch up his season's 11th. Huddersfield pulled one back, a Phil Starbuck second-half penalty. Stoke had 4 booked, but hung on to stay in top spot.
So much for the top. What about the bottom? Well, a straight dogfight at Deepdale. Preston and Chester were both in the bottom 3, and Chester came good on the plastic. 2 goals from Gary Bennett and 1 from Stuart Rimmer made it 3-0. Alistair Mann reporting.
Here's a goal that would illuminate any ground in the world, never mind Deepdale. Chester's Stuart Rimmer, after 7 minutes, giving the visitors a superb start. Preston's manager Les Chapman described his team as 11 strangers after their drubbing at Wigan in midweek. They'd hardly been reintroduced when Gary Bennett strolled in to make it 2-0. He himself added a 3rd later in the second half. Preston now 11 defeats in 16 games.
Well, Bury nicked a vital win against Stoke City in the week. A repeat against West Brom today would certainly help their cause at the bottom. They didn't get it, but they got a point. 1-1 it finished. Mark Keeney and Bob Taylor sharing the goals. Here's Rob Palmer.
Bury's football was as bright as West Brom's colour coordination. Mark Keener refused to be blinded by the rays of red and yellow. His first goal of the season. And not a bad one to open his account with. A set-piece free kick brought the Baggies level in the 8th minute, aerial domination, and a Bob Taylor made-to-measure overhead kick. But a point for Bury and more headaches for the under-pressure Bobby Gould.
Check on the other third division results. More disappointment for Bolton, going down 1-0. Phil Brown's own goal. Wigan's little burst of form at an end 2. Swansea 3, Wigan 0 today. But last night, Stockport rediscovered their goal-scoring touch, putting 5 past Bournemouth at Edgeley Park.
Stockport centre-forward Kevin Francis was never far from the core of last night's action at Edgeley Park. When you're his size, you're never far from anywhere. Having hit the post early on, he forced the penalty from which County took the lead. Jimmy Case handing him the ball, Kevin Bond failing to take it off him. For all his body language, young Bondi got the man, not the ball. But a floodlight failure caused a stoppage before the kick could be taken. 13 minutes passed before Jim Gannon could score his 13th goal of the season on Friday the 13th. He might have had another chance 90 seconds later. Bond and fullback Denny Mundy all of a dither. Francis upended by keeper Bartram, but the penalty appeal silenced by Andy Preece. Just before half-time, Francis applied his customary nod of approval to a well-worked corner, and Gannon popped in his second for 3-0. Second half, and Stockport heading for their best win of the season in some style now. There's more to them than height and might. David Frayne's scorcher bouncing back into Big John's path, his 22nd of the season. Don't know how his back survives the celebrations. Promotion celebrations are on the cards if he can continue to make a nuisance of himself. Keepers lose sleep over him. Tony Barrow slithered in the 5th. County's hopes still wide awake.
Yes, they are indeed. Stockport are 4th after that win last night, but Stoke 3 points clear at the top this afternoon. Brentford losing 4-3 to Bradford. Down at the bottom, Chester climb out of the trouble for the time being with Bury on their coattails. Preston's the team who just can't seem to put any kind of run together at the moment. Well, in Division 4, it's not been the easiest week for Burnley off the pitch, but today they were back in action against Halifax at Turf Moor. Maybe went a little way to lifting spirits. John Pender's only goal, keeping them in touch at the top. Here's Lindsay Sutton.
Burnley, with only 1 defeat in the last 10 matches, started out as sure home bankers against lowly Halifax. And tricky winger Steve Harper made all the running. His cool chip setting up Mike Conroy, the leading scorer just failing to add to his 23-goal tally. Despite permanent possession, Burnley struggled to find the net. It took a John Deary free kick to break the deadlock. John Pender's looping header bringing Burnley their 21st win of the season. Their promotion hopes still burning bright, and nearly 11,000 there to see it.
Everyone else on their travels this afternoon. Barnet 2, Wrexham 0. Liverpool-based striker Mark Carter with one of those goals. Rochdale have won 3 in a row. Chesterfield 0, Rochdale 1. Steve Whitehall's only goal. Blackpool winning the battle of the East and West holiday resorts. Scarborough 1, Blackpool 2. Dave Bamber's 31st of the season. Blackpool it is who stay top tonight from Mansfield. Burnley's 1-0 win keeps them 3rd with games in hand. Rochdale climb above Crewe to 6th. Plenty of football for you this weekend. Tonight, remember, it's the Granada match at 10 to 11, featuring Sheffield United and Manchester United. Then tomorrow, Manchester City make a season's debut on the match at Main Road. Peter Reid's side facing Southampton, who themselves are facing relegation. Now, by my reckoning, you've seen something like 30 goals in about 30 minutes. Not bad, is it? See you next week. Bye-bye.
Granada Goals Extra was sponsored by Elf Petrels and Oils.